Hey there, friends. Thanks for checking in. Soon we'll be enjoying family and friends as we get together for Christmas celebration. People traveling to be with family. Families getting together, sharing old memories and talking about what's been going on. It's a wonderful time of the year, but inevitably, somebody is going to bring up the need for more gun control. And you, like me, your blood's going to be boiling. But we don't want to overreact and get grandma all upset and ruin the festivities because you're going to say something like, "Oh, sure, you can have my gun out of my cold, dead hands." So instead of doing that, I'm going to teach you various strategies of dealing with people so that we can still be festive, enjoy the moment, and yet get our point across. So I, as your counselor, will begin. Let's get started. Now, the first type of person we're going to encounter is somebody like crusty Uncle Clifford. Uncle Clifford cannot imagine life that does not take place in the 40s. And he's going to say something like, "You kids nowadays run around these guns shooting each other. Back when I was your age, we used to put up our dukes like this and we take care of it. They go have a glass of lemonade. I don't understand that." Now, with crusty Uncle Clifford, you want to simply explain to him that we're not living in the 40s now. A lot of bad guys have guns, and we have an obligation to protect our family the same way he did with a firearm. After that, quickly bring up Babe Ruth. Ask him what it was like playing baseball in the 40s, and then once he goes off talking about baseball ad nauseum, you'll know you made your point. The next type of person you're going to encourage somebody like Millennial Melanie. Millennial Melanie thinks that she knows everything about the world and everybody should conform to her way of thinking. She's going to say something like, "I think it's only the military that should have guns because guns are very scary and dangerous. My friend Sarah's dad has a gun, and once he was working in the garage and I heard a loud bang and I just know that it was the gun going off, so I don't think that people should have guns." Now, instead of saying something rude or mean to Millennial Melanie, just say, "Melanie, I thought I just heard you get a text." So, "No, I'm not getting." "Oh, yes, Sarah just texted you. I just heard it vibrate." And she quickly looks at her phone, disappears for 45 minutes staring at her phone on the couch. At that point, you know you just diffused her argument without getting upset. The next type of person you're going to have to deal with is Cousin Expert Eddie. Now, Cousin Expert Eddie is a self-appointed genius. He thinks he knows it all. And I can't stand people like this, but he's going to say something like, "Well, you know that the violence in children is mainly caused by guns and children playing with guns and all these people in America that have guns now. It's really part of the problem." So you want to insult him in a way that's not name calling. You don't want to get everybody upset. Once again, you want to say something like, "Well, Expert Eddie, are you aware that more children get hurt and killed on bicycles than they do with firearms? Because a man of your intelligence level should know that. You know that, right?" And then when he tries to squirm his way out of it, "Well, I really have to look that up in research." Say, "Oh, yes, Expert Eddie, that's what you need to do because certainly you wouldn't be saying something at the dinner table that's not true, right?" And at that point, Cousin Expert Eddie's going to excuse himself from the table with his tail between his legs. And at that point, you know that you're ready to move on in the dinner conversation. Next is Blind Aunt Betty. Now, Blind Aunt Betty's just a sweet little lady who just cannot fathom violence in the world. And she'll say something like, "I just don't understand why, but why should anybody have a violent gun?" And now you want to say something like, "Get your head out of the sand, Aunt Betty!" But you really shouldn't do that. You know, Aunt Betty's going to get upset. So what you say is, "Aunt Betty, you know, God commands me to protect my family, and we don't want anything to happen to them. Now, do we, Blind Aunt Betty?" And she's going to say, "Oh, of course not, honey." And at that point, get her a cup of coffee and start talking about recipes, and then you can move on from there, and she'll be happy. The last type of person you're going to have to deal with is somebody who I call Fat Fred. Now, Fat Fred made his way to your dinner table because he had nowhere to go and somebody invited him. Oh, he's really there for the food, but he wants to be accepted because he really doesn't know too many people, and he's going to go with the flow of the popular opinion. And he'll say something like, "Well, yeah, I think it's a good idea too. I agree with these people." Now, what you want to do with Fat Fred is give him a double portion of cheesecake, a big, huge glass of Mountain Dew, and top it off with some chocolate on the side, and he will shut up for the remainder of the time, and then you can move on to other things. I hope this has been educational. I really do hope you have a wonderful family get-together this Christmas season. And I hope these strategies work. And if for some reason they don't work and people want to outshout you, you can always revert back to the faithful, oh sure, you can have my guns from my cold